So hello everyone, and it's been ages since I've made any videos on YouTube, primarily because I had no motivation to shoot any videos for YouTube. I've been quite lazy, quite overloaded with work, and basically neglected my YouTube channel. So my New Year's resolution will be to actually start making more videos for YouTube and start sort of returning back to my vlogging. And in this sort of a festive period video, whether you're celebrating Christmas or not and New Year, I was thinking to sort of make an overview and a bit of a tour of all of my fish tanks, because there has been a lot of things happening in my fish keeping hobby, and I've obviously been quite engaged in it, although I haven't recorded and I haven't filmed anything on YouTube. And we'll probably get started with this tropical paludarium, which has been everyone's favorite on YouTube, and I've been making some updates about this system probably like 4 months ago. So I think it's a good time to sort of do an overview as to what is happening here. And actually this tank now is exactly 1 year old, because I've put this system together last December. So it's quite mature now, and I would say it has reached the condition when there's no algae, there's everything growing, and everyone is sort of feeling happy in here, at least for now. Because the system is very mature, I'm not really doing any water changes on it. I'm just topping it up about once per week, sometimes more often. I'm also cleaning this sponge here probably once in 3 weeks, and that's all the maintenance that I'm doing on this tank. Of course, also I'm trimming plants occasionally, but not much else. In terms of population, this tank pretty much has the same population. I apologize for all these lights from our Christmas tree, which is just right here, but there's nothing to be done about it. Lots of different species of corridors in here. As far as I remember, 8 different species of corridors. Previously, for almost the whole year, they have been really shy, and most of them have been hiding in the back here, in the leaf litter and so on. But over the last couple of months, they've become more confident and outgoing, and they're actually just hanging out in here. You can see some of my Corridorus CW28, absolutely gorgeous fish, not afraid and hanging out right on front of the tank. You can see some Haplesoma granti next to them. It's actually also Haplesoma. I just forgot that they have been reclassified. Also some Osteogaster Aenius wild-caught bronze coris, and some Haplesoma duplicareus, Haplesoma concolor here. I have a few other species in here, but they are somewhere else. Other fish in this tank are a group of cardinal tetras. Actually, this is a very old group. Some of them are as old as 4 years old. The youngest ones are probably about 3 years old, and I'm occasionally losing a few of them, which is a very natural process. So the group is becoming smaller and smaller. Eventually, once they will all be gone, I will replace them with neon tetras, because currently this tank is at about 25 degrees Celsius, which would be perfect for neon tetras, but sort of on the lower end of cardinal tetras endurance of temperature. There's also lots of 3 species of pencilfish. They are and have always been very shy and reclusive, and it's very difficult to actually find them, but there is a lot of them, believe me. You can see there in the back Nanostomus equus, that's one of the, and also Nanostomus marginatus here, and Nanostomus beckfordi. You can also see there in the back some dwarf Flacocaris, Letacara corviceps. And what else do I have here? I also have here some Pristella tetras, and yeah, black skirt tetras as well here. So it's a community of caryatins, a few dwarf cichlids and corydoras when it comes to the population of this tank. Well, now I'll briefly take you through all the plants that are existing here, both above the water and below the water. There's not much actually happening previously in this tank underwater, but I've been doing quite a few experiments, adding more aquatic plants and seeing how they function here. So you can see all this small undergrowth in here. It wasn't here before. I've added it about a month ago. These are dwarf sach and a collection of various crypts and echinodorus plants which I had in my different tanks and which didn't really do well there. So most of them just had healthy roots but not many leaves. So I've added them in here and they're actually starting to shoot some new leaves. In here I'll have a bunch of Nymphea, tiger lotus, tiger red lotus, something like this actually. And they're doing great. I'm cutting down all leaves which reach the surface to prevent them going green, because as long as they're underwater they are actually reddish. As soon as they reach the top of the fish tank they become green, and I don't really like them green. In here I have Cryptocoraini Vendae, as long as I remember. Also doing good. Other aquatic plants, some stem plants in the back, that's Ludwigia and that's Bacopa caroliniana. What else in here? No, that's Bacopa caroliniana. In here I have quite a few Echinodorus plants. They're all actually Echinodorus argentinensis. I've planted, I think I've showed it in the previous or the one before video about this setup, that I've planted 10 Echinodorus argentinensis plants in here. Only 3 of them actually started growing properly. This is one of them, the second one in here, it's smaller, and the third one is in here. The rest of them are sort of growing underwater and sort of going through various transitional stages. You can see them here. Probably something will come out of them, hard to say at this point of time, but yeah, you can see there's some fresh growth on these Echinodorus plants, but not much. Nevertheless, I'm happy with these 3 guys, and they're doing quite well. You can see the leaves are large and healthy. Talking about semi-aquatic plants, I've added some Hydrocotyle leucocephala in here, Brazilian pennywort, which is one of my favorite aquatic, semi-aquatic plants. It mostly grows above the water, that's where it gets all the light and all the CO2, so I love it in here. Up there, I always had here this bunch of Japanese pennywort, Hydrocotyle tripartita, Japan, and in here as well, that's the same plant. They've been here for a very long time, very well established, doing well. Lots of mosses. As I've said before, when I reviewed this tank, I have had about 8 different species of aquatic mosses added to this setup. Some of them are doing great, some of them are not doing great, and that's mostly because of the access to light. In here, for example, this is a flame moss. This is how it looks like when it grows like that, immersed. So it's doing good, but there are some areas on top where it doesn't get enough moisture, so it dries up. But as long as it does get enough moisture from the drip wall system, it is actually prospering. The same goes, well, this is a flame moss as well as I remember, and it's also drying up in some areas. This is sphagnum moss, which has completely dried up, but doing well. In here, most of the mosses are doing amazing because they get lots of moisture. I'll have a look at mosses in here. It's probably difficult to see, but overall doing quite well. And have here this parlor or areca palm, which has been here for ages and wasn't really doing well, but recently started growing really well. Now talking about the elephant in the room, red mangrove plants. which I've also had here since I've established this system, and they are exceptionally slow growers, which is normal for mangroves and freshwater, but they are growing, and it feels that recently they've started growing really well. Not all of them, like these 3 plants in here, they're doing great, they're reaching up to the LED lamp. This one here not doing good, that one here not doing very well, this one so-so, and this one is certainly growing nicely. This is a red bromeliad, not sure about the species, which I got from a terrarium shop. A slow grower, obviously, because it needs a moisture-rich environment, and this is not a moisture-rich environment, but nevertheless surviving. A fern in here, doing great actually, recently started to grow really nicely. This is a Ficus pumila, which I'm just keeping it here because it gets some nice light, and I'm watering it with aquarium water, but this is for another project. So yeah, this is how this setup is doing. It's certainly very well established. I'm quite happy with it. It doesn't require much maintenance. It sort of takes care of itself. I'm obviously feeding fish, and I'm adding some fertilizers. I'm adding both a mixture of macro and micro fertilizers and liquid carbon. Other than that, not much maintenance, and yeah, beautiful setup. Right, so we'll move on towards my fish room, which is in here. I normally keep it locked because I'm heating up the space inside, but I'll open it up now for filming because it's a very tight and narrow space. It's also very loud inside because of all the pumps working, so I hope you would be able to hear me. Currently there are 8 tanks. 7 of them are with fish, 1 with shrimp, and I'm not going to sort of spend too much time talking about each of these tanks at length. So I'll sort of go through them quite fast, just telling you what's in them. And if you're interested, I would be happy to make a separate video about this fish room, but right now it's just sort of a brief tour of what's in here. So in here I've got juvenile Hypancistros zebra, all hiding. They're really small juveniles, and I've got them recently. They're still tiny. In here I've got a group of Hypancistros L236 super whites. You can see some of them in here. They are sub-adults, and they're reaching breeding size and breeding age quite fast, and so I would expect some breeding from them soon. Down here I have my colony of Hypancistros L333 King Tiger Pleco. They're adults, and there are also the sub-adult babies. In total about 20 plecs in here. That's one of my males, probably on X, hard to say. Here I've got my group of Hypancistros L260 Queen Arabesque Pleco. You can see one of them. They are sub-adults. I've got them recently as juveniles, but they are growing quite fast. I'm managing to grow them up quite fast, and hopefully there will be some action from them sometime soon. Down there I have a group of Panacolos 397 tangerine plecos, or red Alencar plecos, whatever you want to call them. Impossible to film them as they sort of exist within those driftwood, and hard to see them. This is a tank with my colony of yellow sun-kissed Neocaridina shrimp. Also quite hard to see them actually. Normally they're more outgoing, but yeah, there's some adults, some juveniles in here, lots of them in here breeding actively. This is down there is a relatively new setup with my group of leopard frogs, Pecolce compta. Obviously, because this is a new setup, they are very shy. You can only see a tail in here. They've previously been in a different tank with my zebra plex, but I've decided to separate them. And the last tank in here is this small DIY IKEA tank, which I've made myself. It has a group of long fin green dragon Bristol noseplex. To be honest, I don't really like Bristol noseplex because they produce quite a lot of waste, and I don't know, I just don't like the way they look. But I've got them for free and I just put them in here probably temporarily, and I'm not sure, probably I will give them away sometime soon, but for now they're here. So yeah, one of the things that I've done recently, sort of not completed but started doing, is changing all the aquarium LED lamps with this, I'll show you it here, this sort of a round small energy saving LED lamps. They're quite convenient because they're only 2.5 watts each, and they consume much less energy than aquarium lamps, and they basically provide as much light. So that's what's happening in the fish room. I can make a more detailed video about it sometime soon, but for now I don't want to spend too much time talking about each of these tanks. And this is the last of my fish tanks, which I haven't really showed you before. This is because this is a very temporal setup. So in here I have my group of CPDs, Celestial Pearl Danios. They are here temporarily because soon I will move them into a different tank, which will be standing on my desk in here, and it will be a tank about 2.5 times larger than this small tank. They're actually feeling very happy in here, and I've had some fry from them which are living in here. Yeah, you can probably see them darting around, but there are probably 5 or 6 of them. That's all I've managed to save. Yeah, very lovely group of small fish. They live here without a heater at room temperature, which is about 18 degrees Celsius, and there is a small fan heater here which turns on from time to time, but they seem to be absolutely happy at this temperature, don't require much maintenance. And up here is something not fish related. This is a Habitat terrarium which I will be assembling and creating a bioactive setup for poisonous dart frogs, but this is a long-term project. Alright, so on this note I will stop this video because it's already quite long and I don't want to take too much of your time on holidays. And yeah, so basically this is an overview of all my tanks at the moment. I've got like more than 10 of them actually, and this one is obviously the most beautiful one, and it is supposed to be most beautiful because it's a display tank, and the rest are just breeding or raising tanks. So yeah, I'm hoping I will be able to get back to YouTube despite having no motivation and being quite lazy about it, and hoping that I will be able to make more videos in the new year. And yeah, so all the best greetings to you, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and please leave your comments.